So here's a colony. I've been pulling queens out all year. I didn't really get them a chance to build up. Using them kind of like a mating nook, not a lot of frames. I've just been kind of adding frames as I go. But let's take a look and see what's going on in this colony now. See if they are building up very much. Probably going to be a lot of small hive beetle because they could be a smaller one. So we've got a small hive beetle trap. So let's take a look to see if there's any top cover small hive beetles. I don't see any. And as you can see, here's the small hive beetle trap. Let's see how well it performed. Look at the propolis right here. I always like to take my hive tool. There could be small hive beetles hiding underneath. So you want to kill any small hive beetle by smashing them like this before you take it out. Now, take your hive tool, loosen up the trap without cutting it and spilling oil in the hive. Be careful about that. Wow, look at that propolis. I'm getting a lot of propolis on my hive tool. If you fail to work your colonies against small hive beetle, you might wind up with a lot of them. Now you can see in this trap, it has done its job well. Oh, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So probably a good, I don't know, 20 at the bottom. You can just see them floating there. So that's why these beetle traps are really effective. This is a beautiful frame of pollen. So we can make a mental note that we have bee bread and pollen in this colony for winter. Much more than I would have expected in a colony this size, a small colony. And what do you say, friends, about this queen? Well, instantly we love her. We think she's awesome. That's a beautiful brood pattern. And if you don't think so, look at this side. Beautiful, awesome. Yeah, there are some queen cells. I'm looking down in them. They're empty. So these were some that the queen that we're watching now, or her beautiful laying pattern, she came out of one of these aged queen cells that the colony just hasn't tore down yet. So I don't see the queen here. I'm going to put this frame of pupa back in the hive because it does need to be kept 92.5 degrees. I really don't want to set it in the sun. I want the bees to take care of that aged pupa that's ready to emerge. Now, by the way, those of you that are excited about what I'm teaching you about winter physiology, what you're seeing here under those caps are bees that will live 4 to 6 months. That's what I'm raising. This is my future. This colony has a very, very, very bright future because of that right there. Some are emerging, but these will be bees of winter physiology. So we have we have 2 frames of bees of winter physiology, roughly 7,000. So we got 14,000 bees right now that will be coming out in October. Now we can add another 7,000 to 14. Now we have 21,000 bees that will make it through the winter. These bees coming out of these cells I will see in March and April. Look at that. I'm up to 21,000 winter bees. And they will live the whole winter. They won't die in 40 days. I could go on looking. I might want to, but certainly already this hive is in great shape. And it's strange because it was a kind of a weak, struggling colony because I kept selling the queen out of her, and it didn't really give them a chance to build up a lot. All right, so they have 1 frame of bee bread. That's helpful. I will be feeding this colony my winter bee kind, my Burns feeding system pretty soon. Then I go to the winter bee kind. So I'm not worried about food content right now. I've got 8 weeks to feed this colony. And I would say they are very light. You see some honey on there, but not a lot. These frames I just put in here not too long ago. They're just drawing these out. There's a small hive beetle walking around. They haven't drawn all these combs out, but I will leave those in there and let them either draw them out the rest of the year that I have, or if they go through the winter with just that little bit on there, I'm not worried too much about it. Like I said, I'm feeding them with my winter bee kind. We might want to look down in the bottom just for good measure. Now that means that we're going to have the hive open an extended period of time. We're going to need a lot of smoke. So we're going to smoke the entrance. We're going to smoke again up here like this. And we're not going to take time to put that frame in just yet because time is critical. We have to inspect fast. We'll deal with that frame down there later. So right now we're just going to take this off and set it on top of the top cover that's on the ground upside down. Alright, now we can look at these bees here, smoke them on top. This is a fall inspection. That means we don't have a lot of time to do much work. Smoke is really good because in the fall bees are a lot more defensive. We're going to start on this frame next to the wall and draw it up. Take a look at it. Keeping in mind I've got 21,000 bees in my future. Alright, here's a medium frame and a deep box, so they've drawn out extra on the bottom. This frame is essentially empty. There's nothing on it. We'll leave it out for now to give us a little space and keep looking. Now this is another good time to smoke right now. You want to smoke about every 2 to 3 minutes in the fall when you're working like this. Alright, brood at the bottom. That's a good sign. We like seeing brood down in the bottom deep. Just shifting my hands so that I can get a good camera angle. Okay. Again, a good laying brood pattern here. I like it. I don't see the queen. I do see a lot of larvae on the outside. Those are bees of winter physiology. They're not even capped over, so they're going to come out later in a few more weeks. Probably about 4 weeks they'll emerge. That'll put us deep into October. I'm getting into some very young larvae now. Definitely bees of winter physiology. I'm topping 30 to 40,000 future bees now. And as you can see here, there's a lot of young larvae. I'm looking for the queen because I see a lot of eggs, but I don't see the queen. I'm going to circle back over here, look for the queen again. And no, I don't see her. Wow, I want to keep showing you this. This is fantastic, actually. So I'm at 30 to 40,000 future bees because of the capped brood I've showed you and larvae. Let me add to that number. Look at that. There's more. We're going to add another 5,000. Now we're pushing 45,000. We've topped the number that I need. I need 40,000 bees to make it through the winter, and now I've topped that. I've got 45,000 bees. So this colony has enough future bees, not the ones walking around. I don't care about them. I'm talking about capped brood or young larvae. Young larvae all deep in the pockets of those cells. That's the winter bees of winter physiology. Can't stress that enough. I hope you really get tired of hearing me say that about winter survival, is that you need future bees. Now it's time to smoke. We've gone our 3 minutes. I'm going to just look through a few more frames. Still haven't seen the queen. I don't have to see her because I've seen so many eggs, such good brood pattern. But hey, let's admit, it's fun to put eyes on the queen, right? I've got one frame of awesome, and it's got some good bee bread on it. We had that frame of bee bread. Remember I talked to you about that? We took from the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to park it down here at the bottom, right in the middle of some of this brood that I see. Let's make sure the queen isn't on this one before I jam it in there. Be rare to find her here, but who knows, right? Alright, I'm going to take this frame out, look at it again, make sure the queen isn't out here. Yep, there she is. Okay, she dropped to the other side. Let's show show you the queen. She's just chasing back and forth from one side to the next. But she's right on this frame walking up now. Looking in a cell. She's not marked. Walking up toward the top. Hope most of you see her. It's hard for me to show you and hold the frame one-handed. Let me use my hive tool. You can see her at the tip of my hive tool right there. On top of the frame. So we have to be careful putting this hive back together, what we do with this queen and how we manage her. So what I'm going to do is try to drop her in the bottom. So I'm going to find her, and some of you can do this as well. She's on the top of the frame right here. So I'm going to shake her in and see what happens. Alright, she didn't fall off yet. I could pick her up, but I got my gloves on. I kind of hate to do that. So I'm just going to wait and see if I can shake her off into the bottom deep. She's going really far down. This would be an easy shake to get her off. She's right here. Alright, I saw her go down between frames. So that was excellent. So what I've done is I've just shaken the bees and the queen off. And I've shaken her down into the bottom deep. A lot of room down there for her to keep laying. And that's one way you can move your queen without having to do anything like pick her up and move her around. It doesn't hurt her. She's exoskeleton, she's tough, and she just landed and went right down in there. Now we're going to put the hive back together again. We're going to take this frame that I pulled out from down here. I'm going to count. It all looks good. Now I'm going to put this one here. If she wants to come up and lay in this one, obviously it'll be there for her. Very good. I want to make sure the queen isn't walking around on any of the top frames or the edges. So I'm looking good. I don't see her. Good. One more look. Okay, that's good. You don't want to kill your queen this time of the year, right? And I kind of slide my box so that I don't kill bees by putting it back on. Now we want to put back our beetle trap. We're running it right along in here. I'm trying to move some bees out of the way. It's fine to leave this beetle trap on all winter long, by the way. Come on, bee, move out of there. Beep, beep. Alright, very good. Now we put our top back on. And again, this hive right now is running 45,000 future bees. And so that's a good future. Alright, let me take my suit off and I'll give you some final thoughts on what we did here today. Okay, B Team 6, hey, I hope this was helpful. Basically just going into a hive that we weren't sure about and observing. We found the queen, we put her back down in the bottom deep, let her work her way up. That might give them more time to put some honey in the top deep. Again, I'm going to feed them my winter bee kind. Now, will I feed them a top feeder 1-to-1, 2-to-1 this time of the year? Absolutely I will. They did not have hardly any stored honey for the future, but they had a lot of bees coming into the future. So we had roughly guessed at about 45,000 winter bees. That's all we need. So that's going to be exciting. But I am going to have to start feeding them 1-to-1. Our beetle trap has done its job really well. I only saw 1 or 2 other beetles walking around on comb. The mite count's probably pretty low. We haven't done a mite count yet, but this is a new queen, so while they raised that one, you know, a few weeks ago, a month ago, they broke their own brood cycle of the mites as well. So feeding them. I hope this has been helpful. I think this is one of the best B Team 6 videos I've made to give you an example of how important it is to raise bees in the fall. And right now we're on a heavy nectar flow. Some other B Team 6 members in my area have reported getting about 7 to 10 pounds 7 to 10 pounds a day of incoming nectar. And so you can see they're really tanking up on some good nectar in the fall. Asters, goldenrod, depending on where you live, it can be different. So they've got a few more weeks until the first frost kills all the plants. For us here in Illinois, it'd be middle of October. So feeding supplements can really help them during this time. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.